Here are top 10 biggest aircrafts, which are actually existed in the world, and some of them may be unbelievable. So without getting back, let's get it on. Aircraft number 10. Antonov An-225 was a strategic airlift cargo aircraft designed in the 1980s by the Antonov Design Bureau in Soviet Ukraine. It was originally developed as an enlargement of the Antonov An-124 to transport Buran-class orbiters, and only one example was ever completed. After successfully fulfilling its military missions, the aircraft was mothballed for 8 years. It was then refurbished and reintroduced into commercial operation with Antonov Airlines, carrying oversized payloads. While a second airframe with a slightly different configuration was partially built, construction was halted more than once due to a lack of funding and interest. This second aircraft was last brought up to 60–70% completion in 2009. With a maximum takeoff weight of 640 tons, the An-225 held several records, including heaviest aircraft ever built and largest wingspan of any aircraft in operational service. The AMRIA attracted a high degree of public interest, attaining a global following due to its size and its uniqueness. People frequently visited airports to see its scheduled arrivals and departures. The An-225 was destroyed during the Battle of Antonov Airport during the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine. Aircraft number 9. The Convair B-36 is a strategic bomber built by Convair and operated by the United States Air Force, USAF, from 1949 to 1959. The B-36 is the largest mass-produced piston-engined aircraft ever built. It had the longest wingspan of any combat aircraft ever built, at 230 ft. The B-36 was the first bomber capable of delivering any of the nuclear weapons in the U.S. arsenal from inside its 4 bomb bays, without aircraft modifications. With a range of 10,000 mi and a maximum payload of 87,200 lb, the B-36 was capable of intercontinental flight without refueling. The genesis of the B-36 can be traced to early 1941, prior to the entry of the United States into World War II. At the time, the threat existed that Britain might fall to the German Blitz, making a strategic bombing effort by the United States Army Air Corps, USAC, against Germany impossible with the aircraft of the time. The United States would need a new class of bomber that would reach Europe and return to bases in North America, necessitating a combat range of at least 5,700 miles, the length of a Gander, Newfoundland-Berlin round trip. The USAC therefore sought a bomber of truly intercontinental range, similar to the German Reichsluftfahrt Ministerium's ultra-long-range Amerika bomber program, the subject of a 33-page proposal submitted to Reichsmarschall Hermann Göring on 12 May 1942. Aircraft number 8. The Antonov An-22 Ante is a heavy military transport aircraft designed by the Antonov Design Bureau in the Soviet Union. Powered by 4 turboprop engines, each driving a pair of contra-rotating propellers, the design was the first wide-body transport aircraft and remains the world's largest turboprop-powered aircraft to date. The An-22 first appeared publicly outside the Soviet Union at the 1965 Paris Air Show. Thereafter, the model saw extensive use in major military and humanitarian airlifts for the Soviet Union and is still in service with the Russian Air Force. In the late 1950s, the Soviet Union required a large military transport aircraft to supplement the Antonov An-8 and An-12s then entering service. Originally known as the An-20, the model is a conventional multi-engined high-wing design. In the early 1960s, the Antonov Bureau produced a wooden mock-up at its Kyiv, Ukraine, workshops of what was designated the Model 100. The prototype, now designated the An-22, was rolled out on 18 August 1964 and first flew on 27 February 1965. The aircraft was designed as a strategic airlifter, designed specifically to expand the Soviet airborne troops' capability to land with their then new BMD-1 armored vehicles. The In-22 cargo hold can accommodate 4 BMD-1s compared to only 1 in the In-12. It has the capability to take off from austere, unpaved, and short airstrips, allowing airborne troops to perform air landing operations. This is achieved by 4 pairs of contra-rotating propellers, similar to those on the Tupolev Tu-114. The propellers and exhaust from the engines produce a slipstream over the wings in large double-slotted flaps. The landing gear is ruggedized for rough airstrips. In early versions, tire pressures could be adjusted in flight for optimum landing performance. That feature was removed in later models. Aircraft number 7. The Tupolev Tu-160 is a supersonic, variable sweep-wing heavy strategic bomber designed by the Tupolev Design Bureau in the Soviet Union in the 1970s. It is the largest and heaviest Mach 2+ supersonic military aircraft ever built and second to the experimental XB-70 Valkyrie in overall length. As of 2022, it is the largest and heaviest combat aircraft, the fastest bomber in use, and the largest and heaviest variable sweep-wing airplane ever flown. Entering service in 1987, the Tu-160 was the last strategic bomber designed for the Soviet Union. As of 2016, the Russian Air Force's Long-Range Aviation Branch had 16 aircraft in service. The Tu-160 active fleet has been undergoing upgrades to electronic systems since the early 2000s. The Tu-160 modernization program of existing models has begun with the first updated aircraft delivered in December 2014. In January 2022, the first serial-built aircraft had its test flight, with 2 planned for delivery in 2022 from 10 on order. Plans include 50 new Tu-160M bombers and upgrading 16 existing aircraft. Aircraft number 6. The Airbus A380 is a large wide-body airliner that was developed and produced by Airbus. It is the world's largest passenger airliner. Airbus studies started in 1988, and the project was announced in 1990 to challenge the dominance of the Boeing 747 in the long-haul market. The then designated A3XX project was presented in 1994. Airbus launched the Euro $9.5 billion, $10.7 billion A380 program on 19 December 2000. The first prototype was unveiled in Toulouse on 18 January 2005, with its first flight on 27 April 2005. It then obtained its type certificate from the European Aviation Safety Agency, EASA, and the U.S. Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, on 12 December 2006. Due to difficulties with the electrical wiring, the initial production was delayed by 2 years and the development costs almost doubled. It was first delivered to Singapore Airlines on 15 October 2007 and entered service on 25 October. Production peaked at 30 per year in 2012 and 2014. However, after the largest customer, Emirates, reduced its last order in February 2019, Airbus announced that a 380 production would end in 2021. On 16 December 2021, Emirates received its 123rd A380, which was the 251st and last delivered by Airbus. The $25 billion investment was not recouped. The full-length double-deck aircraft has a typical seating for 525 passengers, with a maximum certified capacity for 853 passengers. The Quadjet is powered by Engine Alliance GP 7200 or Rolls-Royce Trent 900 turbofans, providing a range of 8,000 nmi, 14,800 km. As of December 2021, the global A380 fleet had completed more than 800,000 flights over 7.3 million block hours with no fatalities and no hull losses. Aircraft number 5. The Boeing 747 is a large, long-range, wide-body airliner designed and manufactured by Boeing Commercial Airplanes in the United States. After introducing the 707 in October 1958, Pan Am wanted a Jet 2 Plus 1/2 times its size to reduce its seat cost by 30% to democratize air travel. In 1965, Joe Sutter left the 737 development program to design the 747, the first twin-aisle airliner. In April 1966, Pan Am ordered 25 Boeing 747-100 aircraft, and in late 1966, Pratt & Whitney agreed to develop its JT9D engine, a high-bypass turbofan. On September 30, 1968, the first 747 was rolled out of the custom-built Everett plant, the world's largest building by volume. The first flight took place on February 9, 1969, and the 747 was certified in December of that year. It entered service with Pan Am on January 22, 1970. The 747 was the first airplane dubbed Jumbo Jet, the first wide-body airliner. The 747 is a quadjet, initially powered by Pratt & Whitney JT9D turbofan engines, then General Electric CF6 and Rolls-Royce RB211 engines for the original variants. With a 10 abreast economy seating, it typically accommodates 366 passengers in 3 travel classes. It has a pronounced 37.5 deck wing sweep, allowing a Mach 0.85, 490 kN, 900 km/h cruise speed, and its heavy weight is supported by 4 main landing gear legs, each with a 4-wheel bogie. The partial double-deck aircraft was designed with a raised cockpit, so it could be converted to a freighter airplane by installing a front cargo door, as it was initially thought that it would eventually be superseded by supersonic transports. Aircraft number 4. Super Guppy. The Aerospace Line Super Guppy is a large, wide-bodied cargo aircraft that is used for hauling outsized cargo components. It was the successor to the Pregnant Guppy, the first of the Guppy aircraft produced by Aerospace Lines. 5 were built in 2 variants, both of which were colloquially referred to as the Super Guppy. The Super Guppy is the only airplane in the world that has carried a complete SIVB stage, the 3rd stage of the Saturn V rocket. The Super Guppy performed this role several times during the Apollo program. The first, the Super Guppy, or SG, was built directly from the fuselage of a C-97J Turbo Stratocruiser, the military version of the 1950s Boeing 377 Stratocruiser passenger plane. The fuselage was lengthened to 141 feet 43 m and ballooned out to a maximum inside diameter of 25 ft, 7.6 m, the length of the cargo compartment being 94 ft6 in 28.8 m. The floor of the cargo compartment was still only 8 ft9 in 2.7 m, wide as necessitated by the use of the Stratocruiser fuselage. Aircraft number 3, the Boeing 747-400 Large Cargo Freighter, LCF, is a wide-body cargo aircraft modified extensively from the Boeing 747-400 airliner. With a volume of 65,000 cubic feet, 1,840 m3, it can hold 3 times that of a 747-400F freighter. The outsized aircraft, known as the Dreamlifter, was designed to transport Boeing 787 Dreamliner parts between Italy, Japan, and the U.S., but has also flown medical supplies during the COVID-19 pandemic. Boeing Commercial Airplanes announced on October 13, 2003, that due to the length of time required by land and marine shipping, air transport will be the primary method of transporting parts for the assembly of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, then known as the 787. Boeing 787 parts were deemed too large for standard marine shipping containers, as well as the Boeing 747-400F, Antonov 124, and Antonov 225. Initially, 3 used passenger 747-400 aircraft were to be converted into an outsized configuration in order to ferry subassemblies from Japan and Italy to North Charleston, South Carolina, and then to Washington State for final assemble, but a 4th was subsequently added to the program. The large cargo freighter has a bulging fuselage similar in concept to the Super Guppy in Airbus, a 300-600 Beluga outsize cargo aircraft, which are also used for transporting wings and fuselage sections. Aircraft number 2. Stratolaunch. The Scaled Composites Model 351 Stratolaunch or ROC is an aircraft built for stratolaunch systems by Scaled Composites to carry air-launched-to-orbit rockets. It was announced in December 2011 and rolled out in May 2017. The aircraft features a twin fuselage design and the longest wingspan ever flown, at 385 feet, 117 m, surpassing the Hughes H-4 Hercules flying boat of 321 feet, 98 m. The Stratolaunch is intended to carry a 550,000-pound, 250 t payload and has a 1,300,000-pound 590 t maximum takeoff weight. It should release its rocket at 35,000 ft, 11,000 m. The aircraft flew for the first time on April 13, 2019, and shortly thereafter the company announced it would halt development of its air-launched family of launch vehicles, following the death of Stratolaunch founder Paul Allen in October 2018. The company ceased operations the next month and placed all company assets, including the aircraft, for sale for $400 million by June 2019. Cerberus Capital Management acquired Stratolaunch Systems, including the Stratolaunch aircraft, in October 2019. Stratolaunch announced in December 2019 that it would now be focusing on offering high-speed flight test services. Aircraft number 1. Airbus Beluga. The Airbus A300-600 Super Transporter, or Beluga, is a version of the standard A300-600 wide-body airliner, modified to carry aircraft parts and outsized cargo. It received the official name of Super Transporter early on. However, the name Beluga, a whale it resembles, gained popularity and has since been officially adopted. Its replacement, the Beluga XL, entered service in January 2020. Several major aircraft manufacturers are multinational, and it is not unusual for them to have plants in widely separated locations.